Well, welcome everyone to our monthly webinar with the Women's Business Center at JEDI. My name is Joy Taylor. I'm your host, and I have the great privilege of finding talent and bringing it to all of you so that you can succeed in your business. And as most of you know, those of you who are clients of the Women's Business Center and JEDI, we really believe in the you in business, and we dedicate extra time to really support entrepreneurs in creating belief systems that encourage them to succeed and creating practices that also support you in sustainability. We offer classes, training, workshops, business, financial consultations, tax preparation, business planning, loan application, and advanced business development. We also love to work with people with ideas and support you in finding out if what you have is a viable business idea and how you can actually launch that in this world. Who's your market and how can we help you reach those people? So advanced business development, of course, for those of you who have employees, we love to also help you help your employees. A little bit more, if you want to advance to the next slide, Lori, that would be great. So today's webinar, for those of you who are new, we really recommend that you take notes, be an active listener. Today especially, this is a little bit more experiential than sometimes. So to have full focus will give you the best benefit. Invest in the next hour, invest in yourself, put away other pieces of paper, close out other screens, and give yourself this gift of renewal. And you will be learning some practices that you can apply ongoingly to support you in, concentration, focus to go forward in your business. Now, a couple technical things. You can change your screen size in the upper right corner of your webinar screen. Down below, you have controls, one of which is a chat feature. So we are going to be asking you to ask questions, give us comments. So pay attention to the chat. Feel free to, right now, ask any questions you like, and we'll save those to the end of the webinar. But really, first and foremost, I just invite you to enjoy today and utilize everything we talk about to help you grow your business. And it is my pleasure now to introduce our speaker, I think. I met Lori McKean in February in LA. We both landed at an online marketing conference and somehow found ourselves sitting next to each other at lunch. And when I learned what Lori did, I said, oh, you're such a match for our center. I would love to bring you to Siskiyou County so that we can really help entrepreneurs succeed. So Lori McKean is the creator of an online course that empowers entrepreneurs and leaders to transform stress into sustainable success. She has worked for decades as a Tai Chi teacher, trainer, as well as a Chinese medicine practitioner doing acupuncture. And her passion is really applying these principles, ancient arts, into modern day contexts, such as business development. She's run her own small business since 2007 and finds that she's much happier and successful when she uses the techniques she teaches. So, Lori, we're thrilled, and I'm going to let you go ahead and invite you, encourage you.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joy. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'll tell you a little bit more about myself in a moment and a little story for context about me. But I just want to set the stage for the webinar itself. This webinar, is really about you and up-leveling you, because the most important asset in your business is always you. So I am going to be presenting some simple tools that will help you empower yourself and just bring more of yourself to your business at the same time as you minimize stress and prevent burnout, because it's so important. You can't be there for your business and do your best if you're feeling stressed and burned out. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in my own story. So the structure of the next 45 minutes or so, I'll do a little bit of presentation. But then we're going to go right into those experiential activities and get a sense of ways that we can bring our internal experience more into our external world of business. And there's a great handout, I'll mention that. It's available at that link. You'll also get the link in the follow-up email as well, but you can write that down now if you'd like. We'll do Q&A at the end and then evaluation. So just a little bit about the context of my story, and just want to do this so you can see me as I talk about it. You know, I am an entrepreneur and have run a solo business as well as a partnered business, either two of them, different ones, since 2007. And I'm pretty much a reluctant entrepreneur. I didn't go out there and say, oh, I really want to start a business. It was just a necessity for what I was doing. I became a Chinese medicine practitioner, and I was also a Tai Chi teacher and Qigong teacher. And you know, it's not like you just go out and get a job in those things. And usually you start your own business. And so when I got out of school, my business partner at the time and I, we went gung-ho into creating a very successful practice. And it was building and growing every year. But at the same time, we were pretty miserable. And we were just pushing ourselves and kind of doing things the way that we had been taught in school, and just feeling extremely stressed out and very burned out. So when I actually moved to a different location and started another practice, I kind of made the commitment to myself that I wasn't going to recreate that stress, recreate that model. I had to find a different way, and I had to kind of put myself back into my business. I kind of felt before like my business was running me instead of I was running my business. And essentially, I needed to find a more empowered way to be in a relationship to my business. And that's what I'm passionate about teaching now and exploring. So now we want to learn a little bit more about you. And so we're going to go into a poll.
Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and launch the poll, Lori. And so I'm asking everyone who's participating to answer the question: in which areas do you want to change or evolve or grow? And you can just click on the button, experiencing more confidence. I'm not getting much feedback yet. Come on, someone vote. Making clear decisions. Okay, there we go. Reducing stress, enjoying sustained energy, managing emotions. You can vote for more than one if you like. So in which area or areas do you most want to change? Let's give it a little more time because we only have about half the people who voted here. So. Okay. Gosh, I think, you know, Lori, I want to click them all.
Me too, really. It's certainly, you know, all of those are very important areas for life and business as well. So, and I'm going to go through some of the benefits of increasing all of those and improving in all of those areas for sure. But it is nice to know what people are most interested in.
Yeah, and I did have someone in the chat. I see only the slide that says time for a poll. So you might want to, on the upper right, minimize and exit full screen mode. That might be why that's happening for you. But we do have a good turnout. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll.
Okay.
And I'm going to share the results with everyone. So, number one, making clearer decisions.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. I will definitely highlight that, and it'll be one of the focuses of one of the exercises we'll do. So I'm glad to see that. All right. Wonderful. So, as I was mentioning, in terms of my own process, my own journey, I knew that I had to find a different way to be in my business, and the way I kind of went about that was twofold. One is I started going more um, into what I already knew from my practice of the Tai Chi martial art. And I started applying those principles from that much more into my business, whereas before I had kind of kept them separate. And I also started researching other models, especially that, innovative women business owners were coming up with in terms of how to do business. And what I found was that the approaches to business kind of fall into two camps. And, this is a little simplistic and generalized, but nonetheless, they fall into kind of two general camps. And the one on the right, the separation, what I titled separation, was really how I had been approaching my business for quite a while. I had been kind of using what I learned in school, that more dominant, conventional approach. And this is generally considered to be a more masculine or yang approach. Yang is more of the Chinese word that describes the polarity between feminine and masculine. There's a lot of focus on competition, things like rules and structure, and there's a lot of analysis, logic, linear thinking analysis, and that's how I was approaching things. And really, my mind was very dominant, and my body and my feelings and emotions were more separated. So when I looked at some more modern and more, approaches that are gaining more appreciation, they are characterized by what I see as more integration. And these tend to be, again, more feminine. There's a lot of kind of innovative women leaders out there developing these approaches. There's more focus on connection, on collaboration, more focus on flexibility, on more of the sense of a wisdom instead of linear thinking, and more creativity, more imagination. So in a way, it's really more about integration of many things, including our whole being, integration of like mind, body, and heart. So when I started looking at that, I thought, wow, I really want to kind of develop more into that integration model. And I will mention that one is not necessarily better than the other. It's just that the separation approach or separation model has been more dominant for decades or centuries. It's been really the status quo. So, one is not necessarily better than the other, but what I'm really about is developing skills in both so that we're able to really consciously blend the two in order to get the best results. And we're also able to consciously choose which approach might be the best in certain situations. So this fluency in both is, to me, really the hallmark of an empowered entrepreneur. And that said, because that separation is more the dominant model, and again, even though it's more considered more masculine, it's really how most women operate in business. The integration model, we have to kind of emphasize it and appreciate it more and focus on it to kind of bring that up on level with the more masculine model. And this is actually why I named my business The Power of Yin. It's not because I think that yin is better than yang or feminine is better than masculine. It's just that we need to build up the yin or the integration model to be able to utilize and blend, harmonize both approaches efficiently. So that's what we're going to focus on here today, is developing some skills for that integration approach, to have more sense of the integration. And there are many, many resources out there available. In fact, my online course, that I do, this is one of the main focuses of it. But even in 8 weeks, we barely scratched the surface of all the different ways to develop these skills. So today we're just going to focus on what I believe is the most fundamental and effective way to begin developing integration. And that's through integrating the mind and the body. And so we'll be doing some exercises that cultivate that here in just a moment. But first, I want to talk about some of the benefits of mind-body integration. And you'll notice that some of these benefits look a lot like what we were talking about in the polls. In fact, number one is exactly what you had said is your top priority, and that is making better business decisions. Now, many cultures have long recognized that there's inherent wisdom held not only in the brain, but also in the heart and what I call the gut. We think about, my gut feeling. We even have all this vernacular around that wisdom held in the gut. And now, modern science has also proven that there are brain type cells in these areas, and that all three of these areas, the heart, the gut, and the brain, are all linked. And we sometimes call these the three minds or the three brains. And my question to you is, to all of us, is if we have three brains or three minds, why wouldn't we want to harness the power of those? Because we can certainly get more connected to wisdom and really tap into more creativity, have more well-rounded approaches when we do that. Whoops. All right. So another benefit that I think is also very important is that emotional intelligence. The mind-body integration really supports this. And emotional intelligence is kind of a catchphrase that people are talking about as kind of the new marker of business and leadership success. And studies have shown that emotional intelligence may be like the key attribute that really distinguishes kind of the top performers from people who just kind of perform adequately. And some of the chief components of this emotional intelligence is self-awareness and self-regulation and emotional regulation. And these really are two things that are directly impacted and benefit from mind-body integration, because as we have a more fully conscious and mindful way of being, we have more ability to respond with self-awareness and self-control to situations versus reacting to them. And reacting to them is generally kind of from an emotional place of fight or flight or freeze. So this is a great benefit for sure. And then the third is we also get great better communication skills out of this. Now, studies have shown that so much of communication is really about body language. And we're going to, explore an exercise with this a little bit because, when you have a supportive, organic body language that supports your communication, things just happen so much easier between you and another person. And you can also, because of that emotional self-regulation we talked about, be more calm and less reactive, especially if, it's a heated conversation or something that's a little difficult or controversial. Again, we'll be exploring some exercises for this as well. And then the last one I'm going to highlight today, there certainly are other benefits, but the last one I'm going to highlight is just minimizing stress. And that, of course, also increases our resilience. Now, we talk a lot about, when we're stressed, people will often say, I'm ungrounded, I'm unbalanced. And ungrounded has a lot to do with being more in the head and not in the body, and not kind of literally feeling our ground or feeling our root through our body. So the mind-body integration really promotes a sense of calm, of being grounded and rooted. And the body provides an anchor for the mind into the present moment. And all of this, of course, reduces stress and is more healthy and certainly much more sustainable for us in our lives and our businesses. So now that we kind of have a sense of the benefits, we're going to go ahead and go into the exercises themselves. And I really encourage you to stay open and just stay curious as you experience these things. This is about awareness in the body and awareness to your internal dialogue, your internal experience. There's no right or wrong way to do it or right or wrong thing to feel. It's just about being curious and being interested. So again, as Joy mentioned earlier, try to eliminate distractions right now if you've got them going on. If you're multitasking, please put your full awareness on the experience because awareness is key here. All right. So I am going to go back to me so you can see me as we do these. And the first two are fairly simple, and it's mainly just to kind of get a little bit more of a sense of your body. So the first one I call Shake It Out. And again, you'll have a handout with these. Shake It Out is about consciously moving the body, because when we tend to move our body in very habitual ways throughout our days, and that disconnects our mind and body. But if we do conscious movement, then, and things that aren't habitual, again, it engages. This is also good. I'm just going to have you start doing it. This is great if you're, to stand and do it. We don't have a lot of time today, so we're just going to do a shortened version of it. But we're just going to kind of move around. And especially if you've been sitting a lot or you're frustrated, this is a great one to just get things moving and to start feeling your body, especially paying attention to your face, your jaw, your eyes. These tend to really hold a lot of tension. So make some funny faces, take a few deep breaths. And as I said, I would normally encourage you to do this much longer, but now as you let that go, just kind of feel in. And we'll move on to the next one. Allowing release. So again, we don't often notice the tension we're carrying in our bodies. And by augmenting the tension a little bit and then consciously allowing release, we again facilitate that connection between the mind and body. So I'll encourage you right now to identify a part of your body that tends to be tense. Again, it might be jaw, shoulders, low back. Just kind of identify it for you. And then I'll encourage you to slowly increase the tension. And I'm going to demonstrate just with my hands here. Just slowly increase the tension in that area. Not to the point of pain, just so that you're more aware. Hold the tension as you inhale. Then as you exhale, sigh and just let it all soften and release. Just feeling that. And we'll do that again so you get a sense of it. You can do the same body part or a different one. can close your eyes, but again, slowly begin to increase tension. One part or all of your body. Inhale. Exhale. Just letting everything soften. Okay. And that's kind of just an easy way to let go and move tension through your body and to play with that. Again, I would encourage you to play with it, explore it a little longer, but with time we're going to move on. Now the last two exercises are a little longer, and they're more about actually not only just promoting mindfulness and the mind-body connection, but they're also augmenting the awareness with a powerful intention. So in the first one here, we're going to have the intention of actually kind of connecting those three brains or the three minds in the lower abdomen, in the gut, in the heart, and also in the brain. So I encourage you to just sit or stand kind of erect but not with tension, and just allow your eyes to soften or close fully. And you can go ahead and place one palm on the chest at the heart center and one palm on the abdomen, on the lower abdomen. And then allow your focus, your awareness, or your attention to first be in the lower abdomen. You might notice movement there as you breathe. Just allowing your attention to be in that lower area. And then I'll invite you to kind of bring your attention up, or your awareness up a little higher to your chest, to the heart area. Feeling the movement of the breath there. Allowing your mind to kind of soften into that area. Just simply noticing. And then just see if you can, at the same time, have awareness of the heart and the gut, the lower abdomen. Can you feel into both? And then finally, just kind of adding in an awareness of the head or the mind. And I'll invite you just to kind of play and explore. If you can be aware of all three at the same time, or if you can move from one to the other and back, just kind of play with allowing your awareness to rest into those three places. And then I encourage you to also think about a decision, a difficult decision that maybe you're facing in the future, maybe you had to make in the past for your business or otherwise. And just kind of feel into that decision as you have some awareness of these three centers. Just noticing how you feel about that decision. Or if any of the new insights or ideas pop into your head. And then just noticing that for a couple more breaths. And just checking in with how you're feeling as you begin to move a little bit, begin to open your eyes. And feel free to mention anything in the chat if you'd like about your experience. And how did that feel for you, Joy?
I unmuted so I can share. Wonderful. I mean, just taking some time to be aware.
Yes.
And concentrate. Oh, someone said ready for a nap.
Yeah.
I really feel like once I really started combining the three, having you talked about the brain centers, I think it's the first time I've ever really done that.
Yeah.
And when you brought it into a decision, I'm faced with a business decision right now that has to do with working with someone to do some duties. And really, you know, I'm not done, but I like the idea of just slowing down to consider options.
Yes.
It was less mental. It was just a little bit more like, oh, well, what are my feelings? What are my concerns? So.
Yes. So it gives us, you know, a kind of a more rounded picture of a decision, because when we get into decision making, especially if it's a stressful one and it's all up here, the wheels can turn and we can kind of get into that pros and cons and, you know, and into kind of the reactive phase with it, the emotional place, and kind of grounding it in the body, again, taps into the wisdom, but also gets it less out of the emotions. So this is something I feel like is a great practice to do with just a little bit every day with various decisions. Practice it first with ones that don't have a lot riding on them, and then as well as the bigger ones as too.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, so I was literally visualizing, well, what would it be like for us to work together?
Yeah.
And I began to kind of feel, because we've practiced a little bit, places where it's, you know, we need to find some solutions to make it easier. And then what would it be not to? And then it was like, okay, well, then there's this whole process of looking to find someone else. And
Yes.
it was a visualization for me, just to add a little texture to how to utilize the technique. So
Yeah, nice. And I'm glad somebody brought up that sense of falling asleep, because that does happen when we slow down initially. But I encourage you to keep playing with these a little bit, and you'll find that actually they become more energizing. It's just when you shift and the pendulum swings one way, you got to give it a little time to come back more into center. So just kind of trust that process and know that there are times when you'll get a little tired with it. All right. Now, we don't have a lot of time for the last one, but I do think it's important because it has a lot to do with confidence and communication, and it's a great one because I actually used this with a client when she was in a very stressful situation, having to deal with 450 employees. She is with a federal agency. She had 450 employees and was mandated to have listening sessions with all of them on sexual harassment and sexual assault within the agency. And so she was dealing with very machismo culture, a lot of people who were like, well, this is just, you know, this is nuts, this is man hunting, as well as people who had been harassed or assaulted as she had. And she said to me, I just wish somebody had my back. No one has my back on this project, on these listening sessions. And I thought, well, that's great. Let's do an exercise where you got your own back, because having an internal sense of support is so important. And so I'm going to encourage you right now to just get a sense of your spine. And knowing your spine is this huge, long structural piece from the tailbone all the way up towards the head. And it's more internal. Those little pointy things in the back that we can push on, those are just the very, very outside edges of your spine. It goes much deeper than that. So I'm going to again invite you to close your eyes for just a moment. Have a sense of your spine. From top to bottom, tailbone all the way up to the head. And just really breathe into that spine, imagining that it's kind of glowing or it's lengthening, it's opening up, becoming more alive, more strong. Feel that support structure in your body. And then with that awareness of your spine, think about a conversation, maybe a difficult conversation you have had recently or need to have. And just feel into your spine as you can think about that conversation. And you might even kind of say to yourself, hey, this is tough, but I've got our back. I've got my back. Really feel that support inside you. And feel that a couple more breaths. Notice your posture, if that's changed at all without you even trying. And then slowly opening your eyes, bringing that to a close. And I'll be curious to hear some reactions to that as well. Again, not a lot of time to go through it, but it's a great one. Studies have shown, lots and lots of studies have shown that how our body posture reflects and also affects our emotions, our body, our communication. And really notice, you know, if you have a weak spine and are kind of doing this, notice what it's like to listen to me if I'm doing this. But on the opposite, if I'm really overdoing it and really tense, trying to have a strong spine, notice what happens to my voice and feel what it feels like to interact with me from here. It's hard for me to, it's a lot of effort. But again, kind of feeling into that internal structure, the softening into the internal structure creates just so much of a more dynamic, confident space to be in relationship and with other people, including employees. Yes.
Yeah, I got a great comment that came in, helped calm the anxiety caused by thinking about difficult conversations. And I really invite people to chat. I mean, this whole posture piece is profound.
Yes.
How people see us when we show up in a networking event, when we walk into situations or sales conversations or presentations, I agree that natural. And so are you recommending, in terms of the posture, just to bring it kind of home. Is the exercise something to just consistently do? Should people set alerts so they remember to check their posture? I mean, how can we really use it?
Yes, well, the whole next section is, I'm going to go back to sharing screen here.
Okay.
So we can go right into, yes, practice, because we need to keep exploring these things. We've all created habitual ways of being, whether it's posture or thinking. And if we want to change, you can't have a wishbone, you got to have a backbone. So developing the backbone is through action and practice. Yes, as Joy was saying, creating some ways to remind yourself. In the middle there, it says set a timer, or, every time you go to a stoplight, or other things that trigger yourself to kind of notice your spine, your 3 centers, whatever it is. Challenge yourself to do it for 21 days so you develop more of a habit. And really think about it like hygiene. You don't just brush your teeth when you have a cavity. You do it regularly, and you do it for prevention. So I really highly recommend that for everyone here. Also, practice both without distraction or stress, just like we did, more with eyes closed, quiet conditions. But then go out and multitask. Multitasking when it's not doing 2 things at once, but when it's more about embodying a presence and an awareness as you do something, that's a good kind of multitasking, because that's called integration. So do this while you're having a conversation. Do this while you're in the shower, while you're going for a walk or driving. All of that makes it much easier because you don't have to schedule additional time for the practice. So that's really what I wanted to share with you today. I would love to share lots more. I think we need to start wrapping it up, though. And I will again mention there's the bonus materials on my website with the handout there, and some additional resources. I also encourage you to join me on Facebook at Power of Yin, because I do some regular posts with suggestions and insights. And I do have additional services I offer, including those online courses. And I really design these, and I'm really passionate about kind of helping women who are doing really great positive things in the world not have negative effects on their lives and their health. So I'm excited to work with people, and excited for Q&A too. So I'll kind of hand it over to Joy to facilitate that. But please feel free to contact me privately later too if you have any other questions or comments.
Well, and Lori, what I'll do is when people get, you're all going to get an email for attending, and you'll get that tomorrow. It'll have the recording, but I'll include that link for the bonus material. So people who want to get that and just get reminded on the exercises will have it. And I want to really thank you for offering that and for modeling a wonderful way to engage potential new clients.
Yes.
And, I think all of us who are entrepreneurs, there are many people that we serve who are in this service industry, who are healers or business to business providers, whether it's graphic design work, they're giggers, right? So many of us are. But in any industry, once we present, to really encourage people to continue on the journey is really valuable. So you not only gave us tons of tips about relaxing, making better decisions, having more confidence, managing our stress, you actually really modeled for us, a wonderful way to gain more information from you. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was great. Hey, I got a comment here that says, I feel more alert, dropping the shoulders, help me relax, reduced tension.
Wonderful. And remember, these are all things you can do on your own. And we went through 4 different exercises with me even talking about them in a matter of 10, 15 minutes. So it doesn't take much time. And again, you can do these even, like I said, on your commute, in the shower, wherever. So I'm glad to hear that.
Another comment. This was quite wonderful, Lori. Thank you. I missed part of the beginning, but truly enjoyed the exercises. You were so relaxed, clear, and on point. Really great, Monica. So,
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice that you do have that. I was thinking about the shaking one too, because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to just share that that's something I do a lot
Yeah.
and was introduced to about 6 or 7 months ago. But for me, that really is helpful because sometimes when we're really busy or stressed or overwhelmed, there's a lot of energy. So just sitting and
Yes.
breathing isn't enough. And so I just want to my own 2 cents is do the shaky, because that lets some of that energy release. Then it's easier maybe to drop into holding the centers of the body or getting the posture
Absolutely.
more aligned. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's very hard to like focus in and just calm yourself if you've got a lot going on. I think it's much more valuable to first release and then calm. And that's with emotions as well. Frustration, anger, don't just stuff it, because it's like, I heard one person say, it's like putting cement on top of the volcano. You got to release this pressure valve first, and then you can bring everything down.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation because it is essential. I mean, I've seen so many people say, well, just breathe. It's like, no, I can't breathe yet. I have to dance. I have to move. I might even need to hit a pillow for a minute because I need to get it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Then I'm ready to breathe. And I know running a business, there are those moments where, it can just be overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the release can be mindful. You can be very mindful about how you're moving and how you're being as you let it all out. So
perfect. Hey, yeah. Patricia, who is a friend of both of ours, said, I'll do one of these an hour while doing computer work.
Great.
All right. I like that idea. And remember to, drink water too. I was going to point to water. That's a good keep the body alkalized exercise as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ava says great presentation and like the interaction. So wonderful. I appreciate the interaction as well. Really, really, really helpful. This whole integration model, so Lori, it's based on Chinese medicine, kind of ancient traditions for the most part, and you've adapted it?
There are a lot of pieces that integration versus separation is like I said, yin and yang. So it's that basic model of how the universe works is a Chinese model, but the integration, I kind of am pulling from that, as well as just some other innovative, like I said, women business entrepreneurs that are out there kind of exploring this. So it's kind of an integration of a lot of different sources, really.
Right. Well, I think what I want to do, because we're almost at the end of the hour, I thought I'd do the polls first, because I'm curious now that we've, and then I'll do the events. You
okay.
Can that there, but
all right.
Now that we've kind of like at the beginning, we all identified, how do I want to change in my life? I'm curious to see how people feel this might benefit them in their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm launching the poll, and I hope you all can see it. Minimize your screen if you can. But did you find the webinar helpful? You can choose more than one choice here. But I see it helping with decision making. I got good ideas. I'll likely use them. I see it helping my professional life. You're welcome to answer more than one, like I said. I get to see people as they click. But I will launch the poll so we can all enjoy the results.
Okay. Yes.
Time.
Yes.
I have some new practices I can use. I appreciate that. That's really helpful.
Great. Yes. And again, this was just a quick overview. We can go into so much more depth with it, and I likely will, even just on Facebook. So please stay in touch that way.
Lori, while people are filling out the poll, another chat came in. Thanks so much. Such wonderful exercises to remember, especially when sitting too much in an office environment. Absolutely.
Most of us are.
I may have to do the shake in the bathroom so people in the cubicles don't think I'm freaking out. Good idea.
Yes. Yes.
Good idea. And another great idea is for those of you who can and really believe in, the body posture piece, Lori, sometimes I find myself when I'm on a phone call, instead of sitting and having that conversation, standing up.
Absolutely. Whenever you can stand up from your desk and still do a task, phone conversation or otherwise, please do. And again, be conscious and mindful of kind of both the external dynamics, the kind of external posture, but also more the internal structure as well, like we did with more the spine. So.
Well, let's see what we got here going on. We'll share the results. The winner. I got some good ideas and will likely use them.
Great.
Helping decision making, new practices, helping my personal life. So wonderful.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I think what I'd like to do, one more thing before we close out, Lori.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with this, Monica raised her hand.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy.
I'm going to go ahead and allow her to talk.
All right. Would love to hear from Monica.
So Monica, you're unmuted.
I'm still seeing her muted.
I know, I'm working on it. She
okay.
Unmuted. Oh, maybe she doesn't want to.
There you go.
Okay, I unmuted myself, so.
Okay, great. Do you have a question you want to just talk directly?
I wanted to give Lori some wonderful feedback. This was absolutely wonderful. It came at a great time for me because I really needed all those exercises. I'm having work done on the exterior of my house and I need to clean out at the inside of my house and I'm getting totally tensed up. So these exercises were wonderful. If there is one particular thing, what would be most important? You work so long with these things. I can do these exercises on a regular basis, but what else could I add that would really help me kind of get rid of the tension that is now mounting for all these? I really have big things, big changes happening. So it weighs kind of heavily on me.
Yes. Well, one thing I would say, and I know this is going to be a very unconventional answer, but kind of going back to what Joy said about sometimes you really just have to release first.
Yeah.
One of the best ways to release along with the shaking is growling. Is to actually have a sound come out and like a releases a tremendous amount of tension. And like I said, I know it's an unconventional one, but I find it with all the patients I have that will agree to do it, they find it tremendously helpful in letting go of tension because we hold a lot here. And it really resonates through the chest, the throat. And so I would give that a try with the shaking.
Thank you. You know what? That sounds really great because I've been going a few times here to Kundalini Yoga and there's something called Breath of Fire. I have a difficult time with that. And there's also some chanting. And I have realized I actually used to sing in a choir and all that. And I realized I have a difficult time singing. So, I got stuff stuck in my head.
Absolutely, Monica. And I think you've identified something very important just briefly. For women, that is especially true. Like for us to find our voice and to find expression up here is, I think, incredibly important. And releasing with growling or, yelling or whatever is a super way to get through those blocks. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. Great to have you.
Thank you so much because I would never ever have thought of that myself. So that's great. And I live by myself and I'll only scare the dogs. So that's great.
Good.
There's always a pillow if you need one.
Yes. Thank you.
Let's go ahead to the next slide, Lori. I do want to share with people who are in our region, but also those of you who aren't. We do have some upcoming events. I'm so thrilled. Angela Cordell is one of my favorite presenters. She gave an awesome webinar that's on our YouTube channel about utilizing LinkedIn for professional development. And people often think it's to find a job, but it's about connecting, partnering, finding clients, having clients find you. So we decided to turn that webinar into labs. And so we have one in Mount Shasta and one in Redding coming up in August, where you bring your laptop and work with Angela and really work on your profile. And if you're in the Redding area, we have a women's empowerment night. We're connecting with 2 other women's leads groups and networking groups, and we're going to have fun and do some wine tasting and really get to know other women professionals. And then in August, I'll be speaking in Redding at our We Thrive monthly event. And I love, this is one of my favorite talks and presentations. It's how to speak in public so you and your audience enjoy it. And you're welcome to learn more about all of our events on our website, e-jedi.org. Just a little heads up, the next month webinar is called Digital Fluency, and Heather Stafford is going to be talking about what you can and can't do online with copyrights and images. She's going to talk about the cloud and internet searching and just getting us all up to speed on utilizing open source software and other fantastic things that all have to do with having a tech mindset. So that'll be our webinar next month. And then if we can help you one-on-one, go a little bit further in your business, that's what we do. Business planning, market research, marketing, branding, financials, tax planning, loan applications, leadership skills. Love to help people really hold themselves in the highest esteem so that they can go out and make an impact on the world. You said something like that too, Lori.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so fabulous to really support each other in our visions, because I do believe those visions come from a good place.
Wonderful. Yes.
All right. And if you would like to be a Jedi member, it's $25 a year and it gives you 80% off all our classes. But our consulting is free. We are funded by the SBA and other great sources of both private, foundational, state money that really believes in supporting women in starting and growing businesses. Once again, you can learn more at e-jedi.org. And then a reminder, because some of you are like, I want Lori's exercises. I'm going to send them to you. I'm going to send that link. If you didn't catch that link, I'm going to send the link in the email with the recording.
Thank you.
Lori, it's been super fun. I have one more poll I want to do.
Okay.
Because I really do want to know how people heard about us. Someone asked about the LinkedIn Lab. It is in person. But what I do recommend is if you go to e-jedi.org, and click on the online resource button, go to our YouTube channel, and you can watch her 1-hour presentation, which was just spot on how to really up your profile and build your credentials and your connections. So if you can't make the in-person lab, you can definitely watch the YouTube. But we do have a lot of online classes. We're going to do a class coming up on G Suite in September. And so, you know, stay tuned and get on our mailing list. In fact, you attended the webinar, so we'll let you know about our upcoming webinars.
Yeah.
Lori, before I do a little market research and find out how people found out about the webinar, how do you want to close this out? Is there anything you really want to leave us with so we can be more empowered entrepreneurs?
Oh, well, I would just encourage everyone to really take time every day, even if it's just a couple breaths, to really connect in and feel your power, feel your strength, and go out there and make a difference in the world. We all have a lot to share and a lot to give, and I encourage everyone to get out there and do it. Thank you.
Amen. Hey, we got some good jobs, both of you. Congratulations, Lori. Great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for what you do. So if you can take a moment and just let us know how you heard about the webinar, that helps us keep getting the word out. We love doing these free webinars. It's just really wonderful for us to be able to offer this service. And we do have some really good topics coming up, including sales skills and how to price your products and services. So,
yeah, and you guys, it's an amazing resource. I'm really, really impressed, Joy, with everything you guys do locally, and then that's open to anyone in the world. Really, it's amazing. So,
well, why not? You know, there's so much good knowledge to share. Let's spread it out.
absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. It looks like our Women in Business e-news, a couple people heard about it from you as well, Lori. So, and some social media. So, all right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time, make it a great week. And yes, absolutely, as Lori said, just keep sharing this incredible vision you have and offering solutions to other people. And that's what our products and services do. Bye, Lori.
Bye, Joy.
Are you going to go shake now or breathe or?
Shake it off. Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful time.